Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market every day. Lieutenant Dylan and NW.
Welcome to the Run TMC podcast. That is the Run, the Marin County podcast, a podcast about the wonderful sport of basketball, and in particular focusing on the wonderful, wondrous county of Marin County. I am Duffy Ballard, and with me remotely in Marin County is my friend and colleague and coach, David Levine. Good afternoon, Dave. I think it's just afternoon your time, and it's a little bit earlier on my side of the country.
Duffy, hello. You're in Hawaii. Mahalo to you. Good to see you, and good to talk hoops. It's been a rough week, obviously, for all of us here in Marin. Our hearts are very heavy, so we feel for everybody out there. But we hope this can be a nice little escape, but also a way to, continue to connect with the community. And that's really what this is all about. So good to see you, Duff. I hope you're having a good time in Hawaii.
I am. I will say, Dave, that I've been to Hawaii a few times over the years in April and during the NBA playoffs. And it's just like an ideal time for a playoff vacation when you're like 3 hours earlier. And so you can get up, you can exercise or go to the beach or go for a swim. And then almost before you know it, you're having lunch and then the NBA game start and you got your whole afternoon. So you can go to like an open air restaurant. Or yesterday we went to the Maui Brewing Company and we had something to eat and drink and we watched the NFL draft going off. And then we watched the Knicks and the Pistons. And anyway, just a nice place to be, honestly, a nice place to get away from after like what was really, as you mentioned, just a really awful last week and in particular last weekend. So let's talk some NBA before we get into some other content.
Let's do it. Go, Duff.
I want you, but you sent this out to a group text. It was after game one, and we hope Jimmy Butler's feeling all right. It's after game one. There's a press conference with Jimmy Butler, and it was a really interesting press conference, about 7 minutes long, to listen to. He spoke a lot about how he has tried to fit into what he calls the organized chaos of the Warriors offense, which is really the organized chaos of primarily Steph, and how he just tries to wear down teams with movement until they find the right spacing. But at the end, he made a comment to our good friend Buddy Hield, and I think this plays off some communication you have done with your teams in the past. So what did he say to Buddy Hield at the end of the press conference?
Yeah, Jimmy's amazing. And just taking a quick step back, and then I will get to his comment, which I loved and I sent around to everybody I know. But when we made the trade for Jimmy Butler, I mean, I think I've made it no secret that I'm a huge fan of Spoelstra and the Miami Heat and what they've built. And we talked about Spoelstra with Rick Winter, with Brock and Mike Turner. That Spoelstra's just a great coach. And so Jimmy Butler obviously has played for many different teams in the NBA. He's had a traveled career, Minnesota, Philly. He's been around, but really he became a huge component to the Miami Heat's success. And I've always been a Jimmy Butler fan, even through his locker room machinations, which have been well publicized. So when they made the trade, I'm not always right, but I certainly was excited about the trade. There were some people who were not enthused because they were worried about Jimmy's being a distraction in the locker room because he was demanding a trade from Miami. But you watch Jimmy play, and he plays the game the right way, and he does so many things that we talk about, Duff, with our kids. And so at this press conference, it was great. He was talking about some of the things they have to do and continue to do after their game one win. And one of the things he pointed out was he called out Buddy Hield by name and said, "Buddy, you got to stop dribbling." And Jimmy said, and I quote, "I hate that." And my San Domenico kids will tell you that on the locker room, on the whiteboard before every game, we played, 31 games this year. Every single pregame talk, I wrote the words, pass more, comma, dribble less, exclamation point. And I think the tendency of kids, and it goes up to the NBA, of when you catch the ball, the first thing they want to do is put the ball on the ground. And the effective teams, like the Warriors, when they're playing well, the ball has energy, it moves, it swings, passing, cutting, screening. And so Jimmy, you watch when Jimmy catches the ball, he doesn't just put it on the ground. He catches, he evaluates, he squares up, he's patient, he takes his time. And the ball moves really well when Jimmy's on the floor. And no surprise, the Warriors, acquire Jimmy and they go 24-7 after they get him. So I'm hoping that he's going to be okay. That fall looked awful. It looks like the MRI didn't reveal any bone or structural damage, but can't feel good. So I would be surprised if he played game 3, but hopefully we can get him back for some of the later games.
Yeah, it's going to be a pain control issue. And if they can get him, relatively comfortable enough to go out there, then he probably can gut it through. He does seem like a pretty tough, stoic individual. So we'll see. But yeah, hopeful that he's back, by game 4 at the latest with this injury. So yeah, we will see, Dave. With regards to the passing and dribbling, really, I think unless you have a direct line to the basket, which can be accomplished with a dribble without a defender in your way, you really should never be dribbling immediately. Sometimes you can pass immediately, right? The quick swing pass where the defense is moving, you're swinging side to side, and you whip it around. So sometimes the pass is immediate without squaring up, but the dribble really shouldn't be. And then, you watch Jimmy. He's just a clinician. He gets the ball, he assesses, he moves people around with his head or his eyes, and then his footwork is just incredible, especially on the wing, but even when he gets in the post. So for younger players, there are plenty of other examples of NBA players with great footwork. We've talked about Doncic and others before, but man, Jimmy, in terms of just assess, get people in the right spots, and then go to work.
Yeah, and the Warriors playoff run is a very interesting case study in rotations and player rotations, kind of who's on the floor, and how do you find time for all these guys on this roster. And obviously this is something that every coach on every level has to deal with. CYO, it's a little bit easier because you're required to play everybody, and that's great. You get into high school and all of a sudden it's no longer required, and people make the lineup based on merit or need or rotation, whatever it is. But you look at the Warriors, and the topic that everybody's talking about is Kuminga, and he fell out of the rotation. And Duff, you and I have been on a text chain with some of our friends, including Jonas Honeck, who's a astute watcher of the game, and Jonas kept texting us that Kerr just doesn't trust Kuminga right now. He's not going to play him unless he has to, because he just doesn't trust him. And Kuminga finally got in the game because obviously Jimmy got hurt, and Kuminga's the next man up. And you could see he was a little rusty at first, but then he started to get a little rhythm. I still think Kuminga's ball dominant. When he catches the ball, his first thought is attack and score, which is fine. But I think Kerr likes more of the catch the ball, look to move it and share it, and then get a better shot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here if Jimmy is out, what kind of run Kuminga gets, if Pat Spencer gets in the game. Actually, Pat Spencer came up in the interview that we will share later in this episode with our friend Neil Butterfield, who's a lacrosse guy. So rotations will be very interesting the next couple games.
Yeah, I think when we say that Kerr doesn't trust Kuminga, my impression is he doesn't trust Kuminga to know and play his role, or even if he knows his role in the moment, not to play it. And Moses Moody knows exactly what he's supposed to do out there. And so he's going to D up. He's going to be the corner 3 option. He will attack a closeout if he's got a closeout to attack. And so, Kerr knows exactly what he's going to do. And Kuminga, not so much, and including on the defensive end of the floor. And that's probably even more so than the offensive. But that said, if the Warriors are continuing to struggle to score, and now Steph is going to be even more manhandled, that now that Jimmy's out of the game, they may just need, Kuminga's, offensive ability. And, we'll see how that develops. Hopefully, Jimmy's back and we don't have to worry about it, because to be honest, Dave, I don't think I like the chances of the Warriors without Butler in this series.
Yeah, and I like when we talk about these topics. Obviously, we're focused on things that are happening right now, but hopefully, people will listen to these episodes in perpetuity. And some of the kind of lasting lessons. It's hard to find playing time for everybody. Finding combinations is one of the great challenges that coaches face. So, parents, if your kids sometimes aren't getting playing time and you're scratching your head wondering why, usually it's not because your kid is not a good player. It's because the coach doesn't feel that combination is the most effective one on the floor at that time. And finding combinations is kind of the secret sauce of success on the floor. And with that said, another kind of lasting message. There was a game last night that was incredible. Oklahoma City, Memphis. Oklahoma City, the number one seed in the West, one of the best teams in the league all year, loaded with talent, great coach. They were down by 29, Duff, 29 points. And in the NBA, no lead is safe. There's so much talent, especially with a 3-point shot and just the way the game works. But down 29 and they come back and get the win. A great reminder to everybody out there, coaches, players, parents, whoever's playing basketball, just take it one possession at a time. So you're down 29. Don't look at it like you're down 29. Look at it like, okay, let's cut it to 27. Let's cut it to 25. And that's what OKC did. And they started to hit some shots, and momentum is a crazy thing in basketball. And all of a sudden, they get the win, and Memphis can't feel good after that one.
Yeah, I was watching the game, Dave, and I felt a little bit in the moment, like when we were messaging with Jonas during game one of the Warriors game, when Jonas called and you and I were both surprised, but not surprised that he called this. It was third quarter, Warriors were up like 18 something or other. And Jonas was like, it's going to be a 5-point game with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So, and it was sure enough a 4-point game with 8 minutes to go. But I felt this way actually watching that game yesterday because Morant was out. The Thunder hit a couple shots, and then they started to pressure up a little bit, and you could tell Memphis wasn't comfortable. And even though Memphis hit some difficult shots, it pulled game got tight. Memphis pulled ahead. It just seemed like the way that the entire OKC team, the way they were comporting themselves, it was like, yeah, they're pretty sure they're going to win this game. And then Caruso, man, he made like half dozen amazing, like just glue guy plays in that last couple minutes of that game. Steals, rebounds, push outs. So I don't think he hit a shot other than, a layup at the very end during that stretch, but he made every other big play they needed him to make.
Yeah, OKC's got that amazing combination of players who know their roles. But in addition to obviously the crazy talent of Shea and Williams and Holmgren, I mean, they've got some studs, but they also have the guys who do the little things, just like in the Warriors championship runs, they had the Draymonds, the Loonies, the Livingstons, those players Mo Spates, who just would do the little things, play 5 minutes and kind of get the stop when you needed them to, So really fun to watch. Playoffs are a great time of year. I'm glad that the time works well for you out in Hawaii. In addition, quick shout out to so the transfer portal is now closed. All of the players who are in it are still eligible to transfer, but no new players can enter the transfer portal as of yesterday. Still thousands of players in the portal. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We did say with Marin interest, Jace Butler did officially land at Colorado State, which is awesome. So excited for him. And TT going to Cal. Some Cal players hit the portal. So there's going to be a shuffle, and we'll see where everybody lands as we approach the season.
Yeah, I was reading an article in The Athletic about some early analysis of winners and losers in the portal. And we won't go into detail, Dave, because we need to get on with the episode. But there are some teams that were good last year that lost everyone, really every major returning player lost, and they have to replace them all. And it just is like the craziest version of free agency that you could conceive of. But anyway, we have an episode planned, and we're going to record next week that's going to be all about NIL and transfer portal. So we're looking forward to speaking to our friend and a man who has a very strong opinion about NIL, Chuck Hobler. We're going to speak to him next week for an upcoming episode. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting topic. It's hard to figure out what college sports is going to look like down the line. We're starting to see the new shape of it. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We had a fun discussion with Chuck about it. He's got strong opinions. He's very informed. So that'll be great. So moving on, Duff, why don't we talk about our
What time is it? What time is it, Dave?
Duffy, it's sponsor time.
It is also 9:22 a.m. here in Honolulu, Dave. I've got the whole day in front of me. So, but yeah, that notwithstanding, it is sponsor time. And we are going to get deep into detail with regards to our new sponsor. It is Encore Custom. They are a clothing, apparel store and online servicing apparel company based right here in San Rafael. And our episode today is with their founder and co-CEO, Neil Butterfield, who's now become a friend of the podcast. So we're going to go into some detail about what they do, but also an exciting new opportunity that they have enabled for Run TMC. So Dave, do you want to talk a little bit about Encore and also about the upcoming Run TMC apparel store?
Yeah. So Kenny Woodard, our friend, founder and CEO, or whatever, I don't know what Kenny's official title is, but the guru behind 24/8 and a great guy, former guest on our podcast. He sent me a text message a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, you should talk to Neil Butterfield. He's a great guy. He's very involved in the Marin community and think you guys would hit it off." And Duff, you and I met with Neil, and Neil is fantastic. He's built a great business right on 4th Street. So they do uniforms, but a lot of also just kind of swag. So t-shirts, hoodies, joggers, hats, socks, whatever apparel you want that can be branded with your logo, whether you're a company, a school, a team, for an event, a bachelor party, a birthday, whatever it is. That's his business. And what's cool about Encore is they also invested in their factory in Sri Lanka. So they manage the supply chain, they manage the manufacturing. So that means they have a lot of flexibility with how they can create products and make it bespoke to whatever you need. And Neil loves what we're doing. He's given us some financial support in addition to opening up. We're going to open up a Run TMC store so that our listeners can order shirts or other gear with the Run TMC logo on it, and you don't have to rely on me and Duffy driving around and delivering it to you. So later in this episode, we sit down with Neil for about 30 minutes. He's just an awesome guy. You'll see he's got a great force of personality about him. He's down to earth, and I love what he's done. And I always admire entrepreneurs, and he's really cool local entrepreneur that we should all support.
A great effort to support. And our product list, so what we're doing with them, Dave, is so they have sent us their product catalog. We're choosing like 8 to 10 products, and then we're taking our Run DMC logos and we're going to plaster them on these products. And then there's going to be a link. And if it's ready, we're going to put it in the show notes for this episode. If it's not ready for this episode, it'll be ready for the next one. And so you can go on there and you can take a look. There'll be our Tri-Blend t-shirt, which has been very popular, but we'll have some bamboo shirt options as well as hoodies and maybe some shorts. We're working it out. So if you have suggestions, if there's Run TMC gear that you have just really been hankering for Mother's Day or Father's Day or whatever it might be, let us know. Reach out, let us know, and we'll finalize that store very soon. But we're very excited because it's a great partner and it's a local partner. We can customize it, and the prices are going to be reasonable. So, thank you in advance to Neil and his team at Encore Custom.
Agreed. We're psyched. Thanks, Neil. So, moving on, Duff. Why don't we? I think we really should, and we want to acknowledge what happened this last weekend. Just absolutely devastating news. Obviously, we're all grieving for the 4 Archie Williams students who passed away in a car crash and the 2 who survived. We wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge them and acknowledge our love and support for the families. So Olive Corin, Jocelyn Osborne, Sienna Katz, and Ada Kepley all passed away. Marley Barkley and Elsa Laramont Stranzik are survived and have a long road ahead of them to recover. I posted a quick thing to Instagram on our Run TMC site, but encourage everybody to support the families and the Archie community through the GoFundMe campaigns. You can find them. I put a link to, I think, Creekside in San Anselmo. Awesome people at Creekside. Great restaurant, great pizza. Not a sponsor, but we love Creekside. They put up a website that had pretty fulsome information about all the different ways you can help and donate, in addition to different news updates. But just, what can you say, Duff? I mean, this is devastating. This is every parent's worst nightmare. It's just a reminder that we all got to be safe out there. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you can't really say anything. I mean, there's no way to make this better, and there's just no way. So yeah, we're holding the community and the families in the light. I have a Quaker background. I'm not a practicing Quaker, but that's what we'll say to people when they go through a difficult time, that we're holding them in the light. And as you know, Dave, Holden is a sophomore at Archie, so it hits close to home. But you don't have to have anyone in that school or even be in the county to just be devastated by that event and that situation. And so I wish we could fix something by talking about it. I wish there was something that we could do. Obviously, contributing to the families, we highly encourage that. That's just not really much you can do. So other than I think, as you say, it's a reminder to be safe, Dave, out there. And somewhat ironically, Holden, my son, took and did not pass his driver's test on the day of the accident. Earlier that day, he did a little bit of an abrupt lane change. Anyway, I think he's going to be a fine driver, but we had been having these conversations with him and his friends about how it just takes a moment, and when you're not an experienced driver in particular, at that moment the reaction could be abrupt and not measured or experienced. And anyway, so along these lines, and unrelated to what we were just talking about, Dave, we had a friend of the podcast, Ryan Madden, reached out this last week, and he wanted us to plug the tournament that they run at Terra Linda, 3-on-3 tournament on June 21st, and it's the LLJ tournament, which honors Terra Linda student Jamison Zamlik, who died with a couple others in a car crash in December 2022. So these events are far, far too frequent in our community. But this is, one way to give back and support the family and to other kids who may not have other advantages. So anyway, Ryan said that our help last year really helped them a lot. So we will put the link to the tournament Saturday, June 21st at Terra Linda, and the QR codes for registering. We'll put those into our show notes for this episode.
Yeah, and we're thinking of Jamison and his mom Monica. I think of Quentin Wiggins. There are too many, the Novato kids a couple years ago. I mean, like you said, there are too many of these stories. We want them to stop. Our heart just breaks. But thanks, Ryan, for reminding us about this tournament. It's a great event. Get out there, play some hoops, and donate to a good cause to help the Zamlik family.
All right. Maybe you want to just do just a little moment of silence?
Sounds good.
All right. Deep breath. Okay. Well, we're going to move on, Dave, although I know in moments like this, for many people involved, there really isn't any moving on, at least not in the near term. So, but we are going to move on. And so, Dave, we're going to get to glossary as well as dime. But first, we're going to talk very quickly about spring hoops. In fact, we might not speak a lot about it, but I do have a Duffy correspondent recording for you, Dave, that was recorded a couple weeks ago in Omaha, Nebraska area. Actually, we were in Council Bluffs, Iowa, but we also traveled to Omaha for a 24/8 Puma Circuit tournament, which was just massive. All over the entire Omaha and surrounding area was just taken over by this massive basketball tournament, all on the Puma Circuit. And it actually was a pretty fun trip. Omaha's actually a pretty nice city, and we were hanging out with some nice kids and some nice parents, some kids that go to other schools in Marin, and had a successful tournament. But the whole experience to me just further imprinted what a massive industrial sports complex we have in this country. And it is, I'd have to be honest, it is a little much. But anyway, I'll give you my correspondent, then we'll let you, riff on it, and then we'll get to our glossary.
Beautiful.
Hello there, Dave. This is correspondent Duffy coming to you from an unexpected location. I am at the Iowa West Fieldhouse in Council Bluffs, Iowa, for the Next Pro Puma Circuit Tour. So here at the Fieldhouse, which also has an adjacent Iowa West Wrestling Center and an Iowa West Pickleball Center. We have 8 courts going on. We've got 8 games, 16U and 17U, that are all on the Puma Circuit, the nationwide Puma AAU circuit, which has 2 divisions, a pro and a next pro, a total of 200 teams or so. And it is a circuit that runs from March and culminates in Orlando for the championships in late July. And there's a lot going on. So for the bargain price of $30 a day or $55 for the weekend, you can get a pass. You can come in here and you can watch some basketball. And you see a lot of tall people, and you see a lot of involved coaches. Right now, I'm looking at big hoops at MPJ Elite, and they got probably between the 2 teams, probably got 6-7 guys that are over 6'5". It's halftime, 26-25. The hoops are ahead. Anyway, pretty nice place to visit. Lots of basketball going on, and our team, Holden and his buddy Daff, are here, along with Evan Brewster, Harry White, and a couple of his teammates from Redwood, and some other kids from the Bay Area. Won our first game yesterday, Dave, 71-29. Evan and Harry in particular, both playing on both ends of the floor, defense, handling the ball, playing from outside, playing from inside. And they both look like they're going to be big forces next year in the MCAL, and everyone else fits in as well. So, Dave, put it on your list. Come on out to Omaha. All right, there we go. We got here Court 5. The final is 45-21. The black team beat the white team. That's your update. Okay.
Duff, thanks for that. Glad it was a productive trip. I've been in some of those facilities. I've not been to Council Bluffs, Iowa. I've been to Des Moines, Iowa. Omaha, I've heard amazing place. I was just looking at some of our friends on the girls' side are traveling this weekend. This is the open period. This weekend is one of the open periods for NCAA. So college coaches are going to these tournaments. And there's a big tournament going on in Rock Hill, South Carolina. There's a tournament in Manheim, Pennsylvania. That's Spooky Nook, Hamilton, Ohio. So this is a busy weekend. NBBA, one of the teams that I'm involved with, is going to be playing in Roseville at the Roeblen Center, which is similar to what you're describing. These massive facilities with 8 to 10 to, in some cases, some of these facilities have 30 or 40 courts going at once, and college coaches milling about, typically at the 16 or 17 U courts, the top divisions, watching players. But a fun time for the players to get out there and compete and show what they got. And industrial sports complex is right, Duff. It's crazy. The amount of money and activity in club sports is massive and growing. Instagram and social media is certainly adding fuel to the fire. But good luck to all the kids out there competing this weekend, and hope you get some college offers.
Yeah, and I'd say for Holden, what he liked most about it was like just socializing with these kids and getting some Raising Cane's chicken after the game and going hanging out by the pool with them and just kind of getting to know some kids that he knew a little bit, but now he knows them better. So there's that side of it, which I think can be really positive. So he gets to do it again next weekend in Memphis, although we're not going along for that one, Dave. So anyway, we'll more on the youth sports megaplex of activity across this country in the future, but we're going to now move on to our probably all-time favorite segment of the podcast, at least mine, and that is glossary.
Go, Duff.
Okay, so you probably have heard some announcers in NBA games, especially probably hear it with the Warriors as much as any other team if you're watching them. They'll talk about the way teams are defending shooters, and Steph is like, of course, the quintessential example. And so the term you might hear is top lock off a screen or off a pin down. And so what they're talking about is a defensive technique where the on-ball defender, the defender on Steph, is anticipating a screen, which may be usually a screen that has there's quite a bit of distance between the ball and the screen. So it may be at the top of the key or even over on, say, the left side of the court, and then on the right side of the court, someone's coming down to Moses Moody's coming to set a screen for Steph, and he's going to come off of that. It might even be a stagger screen. And so the top lock is the defensive technique where the on-ball defender on Steph is going to try and top lock Steph, which means getting on top of the screen or on top of Steph and in between the screen. So you're going to try and prevent him from being able to use the screen by blocking him, and then you're going to body him a little bit. So if he does use the screen, you might push him to the sideline a little bit, and then you can sort of recover over the top. So essentially, you're inviting the back door, anticipating that there'll be some help there, and almost willing to give up that back door instead of allowing Steph to come off that pin down or stagger, whatever it is, for an open three. So that is the top lock, Dave.
Don't give up the three. That's basically what you're saying.
Yeah. It seems like it can be quite effective with a good physical defender who also has the ability to read, the offensive player pretty well and can recover. But what it really takes away is weak side help. So, you might see if someone's trying to top lock Steph and it's over on the right wing, that Kayvon Looney might be, if he's on the strong side, he might be wide open on a dive to the hoop. And that's why, sometimes you see these guys, the secondary guys for the Warriors, get wide open dumps because there's not a lot of help because they're trying to take away the Steph three on the weak side. So look out for that. It's not the type of defense that I think you or I would encourage our youth players to play. Probably not even high school players, but there may be some, that are good enough on the perimeter that you would attempt to top lock them. It's essentially, it's a face guard technique. Is essentially what it is.
Yeah, it's used in unique situations when you have just next level shooters that you're trying to do everything you can to avoid giving up a three. I mean, something that we work on a lot with kids we coach is offensively reading how the defense is playing the screen. So whether they're trailing it or shooting the gap or top locking it or on an on-ball screen, are they icing it? So that recognition offensively of, again, going back to where we started talking about Jimmy Butler and just taking a beat to react to what's going on and not just going without even realizing what's going on in front of you. It's hard to do, but it takes reps, it takes thought, and in some cases it's just instinctive. But this is a good one, a good glossary term. It's been a while since we've done a glossary term, Duff. So way to bring it back. And top lock's a great one.
It's top notch. Thank you, Dave. So, all right, we've been talking for a while. So we were going to do 2 dimes, Dave. We each had one podcast recommendation, but I think in the interest of time, why don't I save mine for the next episode? Because there's a lot of great detail in my dime that we can probably banter about, and it's a little evergreen. So why don't we save mine, and why don't you dish us a dime on your podcast?
So that sounds great, and I love your dime. We'll do that one next week. Yours is good. Mine has nothing to do with basketball. Actually, the first episode, Duffy, that we ever did of the Run TMC podcast, I made a passing reference to Smartless, and I said, if you're getting tired of listening to Smartless, then you can tune into Run TMC. Well, my dime is actually the most recent episode of Smartless, which, if you don't know Smartless, it's, I think, the second most downloaded podcast in the world. It's great. It's very fun, entertaining. But the guest this week was Amy Poehler, who is Will Arnett's ex-wife. So Will Arnett, one of the three Smartless guys. They were married, and obviously Amy Poehler, great SNL performer, and has had an excellent career in TV and movies, and is just hilarious. But this discussion was so entertaining and interesting on so many levels. They talk about parenting and parenting as your kids get older. That really resonated with me, and I think probably with a lot of our listeners. Talk about how she got her start in comedy and worked her way up from Upright Citizens Brigade, UCB in Chicago, and made it to SNL. But she's just extremely down to earth, funny, thoughtful. Sean Hayes, Jason Bateman, and Will Arnett are great. It's a really fun, interesting listen. And honestly, this week, which again, I spent a lot of this week kind of in and out of tears and doing a lot of reflection. This was a really nice kind of welcome. I won't say distraction, but it was just a nice reminder of some of the good things in life. So I think Amy Poehler on Smartless is worth listening to.
Thank you, Dave. Yeah, I will give it a listen, and she's awesome. And the discussion topics definitely seem to resonate at where you and I are at in our parenting lives. And it is, every stage of parenting has its challenges. There's perhaps less time intensity when you get to the stage where, at least I'm at, where I have a kid in college, but it doesn't mean there isn't the same sort of emotional intensity or even sort of lack of certainty about whether you are providing the right, advice or guidance, or you're hitting the right tone, and, not wanting to be too clingy, but also, wanting to make sure that you continue to show your love for your kids in a way that, helps them. So anyway.
Well, yeah, one of the things that resonated with me was, I can't remember if it was Will Arnett or Amy said this, but I think it was Amy. She said that when your kids become teenagers, as a parent, you go from being a producer to being a consultant. So she was kind of using showbiz terms, but like as they're younger, you're the producer, you're organizing, coordinating everything, you're kind of in charge. And then when they get older and they get their own agency, you're no longer producing anything for them, but you're just kind of along for the ride as an advisor. I thought that was a really nice way to put it. So anyway, give it a listen.
I'm gonna send it to Angela, because Angela, we love Angela. I love Angela probably even more than you do, Dave. But Angela is still very much locked into the producer mode with our sophomore in college. So that's been a bit of a transition challenge, which of course is quite common. And she's a great producer. She'll be a great consultant when she moves full time from production to consultant.
Hey, we're all trying to figure it out. Okay, well, Duff, good to see you. Enjoy Hawaii. Everybody, thanks for listening. We're excited. Stay tuned. We have our interview with Neil Butterfield, which was a lot of fun. Neil is awesome, and we encourage you to support Encore Custom. Great business, and we're excited to launch our store so that our listeners can get shirts and other swag. I'm excited to get more Run TMC swag. And stay tuned we got some great upcoming episodes. So next week we're going to hit on NIL, but we have 3 confirmed guests who we're going to be interviewing in the next couple of weeks. And then we have 3 more who are on the docket. So we'll have some more interviews.
Fellow basketball podcaster who's agreed to be on the show, probably late May and June. So that's exciting. And yeah, so Dave, as soon as we have the link to the store, we will put it out via our various methods of communication. We'll link it to the show notes for this episode and others. If we have it when we go live with this episode, we'll link it. But if not, we'll post-op, we'll throw it in there, and we'll let you know as soon as it's live. And we just want to thank Neil and his team again, and hope you enjoyed this conversation with Neil Butterfield.
Thanks, Neil. See you, Duff. All right, we're going. Neil Butterfield, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, great to be here.
So Duffy and I are very excited to welcome our friend Neil. So Neil is the founder. Where are you? CEO? What are you?
Yeah, you can give me all the titles.
Chief
not,
guru.
Not a big title guy. Everybody's important here, so try to stay away from that. But yeah,
Okay.
co-founder of Encore and founded the shop and the custom apparel business down here.
So we're at Encore Custom on 4th Street in San Rafael. We are honored to say that Neil and Encore are our newest sponsor of our podcast. We're very appreciative of his support. And we also are going to be launching a Run TMC store online where our listeners can purchase our vaunted t-shirts and other gear. Now, you don't have to rely on me and Duffy ordering in bulk. You guys can order it yourself, and we'll go through all the details there. But we wanted to welcome Neil and give him a chance to talk about his business. It's a really cool story. It's a local owned, founded business. It's all about community here in Marin. So we're very excited to be here with Neil, and shout out to our friend Kenny Woodard, who made the connection and connected us. So Neil, tell us about Encore Custom, how you started your business.
Yeah, absolutely. My background is in lacrosse. My business partner, John Christmas, is a lacrosse guy as well. He's the head coach over at De La Salle and was a very high level professional lacrosse player. I played college. So we've been involved in the lacrosse scene side of things for a long time. And when we started our apparel business, it was all about lacrosse. That was kind of the community and the niche that we were in. And so making custom uniforms for lacrosse teams, obviously lacrosse is in the last 15, 20 years has kind of blown up. Western United States, California, become a big deal. And so there wasn't as many options for whether it was training or products or uniforms. It was kind of the Wild West a little bit in terms of, who's suppliers and, coaches that are available and where do people go to get information about this sport. So I was actually I helped co-found the Sling It lacrosse store down on 4th Street. So I was involved in that and in the retail business back in the early 2000s when that kind of kicked off. So that gave me a start into kind of the apparel biz because we were selling uniforms out of that shop too back in the day. And then we decided hey, we can make these things. We don't need to sell Nike's products or Under Armour products. We can design and make these. So John and I always had an affinity for, a lot of small businesses. We want your swag, you want your apparel, and lacrosse had a cool culture and different kind of look from other team sports, kind of an alternative edge to it, especially when it first came on the scene in the West Coast, kind of heavy and in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
So we were kind of on board with that and designing stuff and kind of went into the uniform business. And, like I said, we started manufacturing, I guess sourcing and having stuff made with partner facilities, partner factories.
Yeah.
And then ultimately said hey, we can actually invest in the manufacturing side. So eventually we got into the manufacturing the products, which is where we're at now. So rather than just make stuff somewhere else, it's we're doing it from start to finish.
So you're vertically integrated. You have your own factory. We were talking about tariffs before we started. So far, so good.
Yeah.
But so that's really cool. So if someone has a new idea for a product that they want, you can work with your own factory and mock it up and produce a few, and then if it's great, then you can make another run. But you have that flexibility to control the supply chain.
From the filament in the yarn in the fabric is the level of detail that we're at, down to that level of detail for sure, all the way through.
I'm curious. So I've never started my own factory. So how do you go about? Obviously you had been sourcing new material, so you already knew the landscape to some degree, but that's a big jump, I would think, to.
Yeah.
So talk to us about that. Did you travel around? Did you look at different facilities?
It takes a lot of luck. I think we kind of ran into the right people at the right time, to be honest. But yeah, we've been doing a lot of sourcing kind of all over the world. Would love to, ultimately someday have that done in the United States, but as we know, not a lot of apparel is made in the United States. What tends to be high-end fashion type stuff. And so, we've been working with people kind of everywhere. I had a guy had a product at the time, made a trip overseas to Sri Lanka, which is where our factory is now.
Yeah.
And through some connections, met a guy who was kind of getting started and had some other investors on board, but wasn't really sure. And we met him and I flew out there. It's like 22 hours of plane flights to get there. It's not a short jaunt.
Yeah.
And spent about a week and a half, and we hit it off really well. Just basically spent the week together, visiting other facilities, talking shop, met his family, and there's kind of an instant connection. So there's a lot of luck. It just kind of met the right person at the right time. But yeah, sourcing's not an easy thing to do for anybody. I think any business. And then, when you're a small company in a niche industry, it's even harder because these factories want volume. They want the big players.
Right. Scale matters. Right. So how do you manage just your input costs, like your raw input? So to make, like, we're here in the Encore store. There's some really cool uniforms and gear all around. This is really high quality stuff that you're using, really good material. How do you now? And that's one of the issues, right? In the US, actually sourcing in the US it's just more expensive to do it here, right? So how do you manage that?
Well, my partner in manufacturing is actually a textile engineer. So we're like doubly lucky in that regard.
Nice.
So his background is in the fabric. And so he's been in the industry for 20 years. He knows a lot of people. He's very well connected.
Yeah.
So getting the fabrics done, I've traveled all over the world visiting mills as well. And so that's why I say it's like the filament in the yarn in the fabric. Like, that's what we're out there. We're doing all over the place, is digging into that type of detail. But his background is in that. He knows all about that. And so I'm kind of along for that ride in terms of that level of knowledge, but very well connected. And he's been doing it a long time at a high level, at a high corporate level before we were doing this. So that helps. It's kind of who you know, I guess.
So who are your customers, Neil? Like, so people walking in here, I know you have a lot of like club sports teams. You're doing uniforms for teams. Who else? Should be walking.
Well, we started in lacrosse, and then so that was our entire market until for 10 years basically, until we opened up the shop on 4th Street. Okay. And the main reason, there's a few reasons we opened up the shop here, but one of them was to expand into outside of lacrosse. So, basketball, volleyball, soccer, very similar fabrics, very similar types of, jerseys and shorts and things, just different cuts and fits and the nuances that the athletes want to wear. But from a manufacturing side, very similar stuff. So those were easy kind of team sports to venture into next. So you mentioned Kenny, we do the 24/8 uniform.
Yeah.
And he's actually, connected us to other folks in the basketball community, 707 Premier up north, those guys.
We're good friends with Dave Granici.
Yeah.
He was a guest on our podcast.
Nice.
We're fans of the 707. That's great.
Nice. So that's why we're all here, right? Yeah. And obviously I talked to you guys earlier, like I love hoops. So that connection is easy for me.
Quick question. What do you think of Kenny's color schemes?
Oh, I love the color schemes. I mean,
Duffy. Controversial question. Kenny, you be you, buddy.
Well, I got to say, so my wife and I actually run a girls lacrosse club because I've been involved in the boys side forever. We have 2 daughters.
Yeah.
And we went right to pink and blue. We followed suit. So
and he's got his style.
It's good. It's good. It works. It works. It works for the girls, it works for the boys. It's fresh. It's good.
That's great. So we should say Neil is a proud alum of Gonzaga.
Go Bulldogs.
Go Bulldogs.
Go
Obviously one of the best basketball programs in the last 20 years. So Neil's got game. Oh, I can tell. He said he played pickup Duff against all the guys up there. So
yeah. Well, you played lacrosse at Gonzaga.
Yeah, I played lacrosse.
But you in the off season sounds like you were hooping a lot.
Yeah, I mean lacrosse and basketball. I don't know how much you guys know about lacrosse, but lacrosse and basketball to me are the same sport. I bring up basketball references in my lacrosse coaching all the time. It's like The only difference for me, aside from the physical contact,
Yeah.
is the best shot in basketball is the worst shot in lacrosse. It's the corner three. You can't shoot from behind the net.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, your angles are a little bit different defensively and offensively, but for me, almost everything correlates.
Well, the perfect example of that is another guest that we had on our podcast, Jake Vasquez.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Stud at Redwood. Now, Neil also, by the way, Neil is one of the lacrosse coaches at Redwood.
Yeah.
So obviously Jake, phenomenal lacrosse player playing at Notre Dame, but was, you know, one of the all-league MCAL basketball player, could have played college basketball, certainly at the D2 or D3, probably could have even played D1.
Yeah.
Really, really good basketball player. And you could see the overlap between the two sports, his ability to see the floor. And my daughter played lacrosse for a couple of years, and her basketball really informed her ability on the lacrosse field, help side defense,
Yeah.
just understanding space. There's a lot of overlap between the
Yeah.
two sports.
Absolutely.
Yeah, skill is the interaction with space. Like that's how you define. I've heard people define basketball that way. That's skill is your interaction with space, knowing where to go, when to go, you know, how fast to move. And lacrosse seems even more so because there's more space.
Yeah. And it can get taken away a little bit faster because,
Right.
you know, people are closing out with a 6-foot pole and can shove it right through you if you know, legally, I guess. So, but yeah, I mean, you got Pat Spencer. I mean, he was the best,
of
best
course.
lacrosse player in the world.
Plays for the Warriors. Playing for the Warriors right now.
And what he played in like 8th grade hoops, and then he played his, you know, graduate year or
Yeah.
whatever. I guess he played high school, but
Yeah.
didn't play in college. And then, you know,
And now he's in the NBA.
NBA. It's insane. But
Yeah.
that's the level of crossover that those sports have for me. So I always tell people I'm a hooper first. I didn't play beyond high school, but you know, that's for me, basketball's kind of my true love. And so maybe that's why we're all here too, you know.
Well, yeah. So where did you play in high school?
I went to Monroe High School, Washington State, and it's like 40 minutes north of Seattle. So I'm kind of out towards the Cascade Mountains a little bit. Small little town.
Beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Love Seattle, Washington.
Yeah.
So when Kenny made the intro to us and we sat down and you learned about our podcast, you were psyched, you were enthused. It was a great connection because you're passionate about the local community and supporting the local community and the athletics here. And we could tell that. So it's a great fit. So then we were talking about, okay, one issue that Duffy and I have been dealing with is we have these amazing shirts that we love. They so far have only been the purview of guests on our podcasts or sponsors, or every now and then we've had people with the ability to buy them, but basically it would require Duffy and I to buy a bunch of them and
We had the fundraiser.
keep
but
them in
that
our
was a one-off.
closet. We had the fundraiser.
That was a one-off.
So we wanted to find a way to make it easier for our fans, listeners to get these shirts. So that's where, in addition to your sponsoring us, you're going to help us do that.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah. Well, that's how the conversation started. Is you came in here to talk swag, and obviously we got a little more involved. And you're right. I think the fit's awesome because your guys' community is very similar to my community. It's you know, players and coaches that love sports and want to talk sports and coach it up and get out there. You know, old guys mixing up on the court still and the whole thing. So I mean, the connection was really organic and good in that way. And yeah, I mean, ultimately we started in uniforms, but you know, sports, doesn't matter which sport it is. There's always the swag, you know, appeal. People want to wear stuff off the field. Players want to wear stuff off the field. Coaches want to look good. You know, what you're wearing is a part of your team identity. It's a big deal. So that's really how we kind of came into the lifestyle business a little bit on the apparel side is all right, well, we got your uniforms. Now you need your hoodies, you need your socks, you need your hat, you need your jacket. And so we, you know, our product catalog just kind of kept expanding and expanding. And one of the coolest things about the shop that we saw is that the type of people that would walk in the door that would be interested in custom apparel is very, very diverse. So, I mean, we're working with gyms and yoga studios and big corporate accounts and restaurants and bars and breweries and you know, martial arts gyms and, you know, the whole gamut, right? It's really kind of everybody because anybody can use custom apparel for their business, their organization.
Sure.
And in sportswear, it's just common lifestyle apparel now. I mean, everybody's wearing joggers, everybody's wearing the hoodies and And it's, it's almost like high fashion now. It's like high technical products. And
Yeah.
doesn't look like you rolled out of bed. It's expensive stuff, but the people look good in. So we can offer team stores or kind of pop-up shops, is what we're going to do for you guys, where it really kind of eliminates that inventory risk. We can offer a wide array of products, and this allows you guys or anybody to kind of get more stuff out there rather than wondering, do we need, 50 t-shirts, 100 t-shirts? What's the expense and the overhead of that? So we can offer, 10, 12, 15 products in a store. We make them on demand. So this is really where kind of our factory is.
Yeah. Having that supply chain under your control gives you much more flexibility.
So we built the factory model.
Yep.
We built the factory to our business model, which is just, that's something we never really could have done without controlling the entire supply chain. So when we open up your guys' store, people go order, the variety of products that they want to order. It will take, 4 or 5 weeks to get them delivered but they're all made on demand.
Yeah.
So the level of quality is going to be a lot higher because it's not just some random blanks that someone's going to stamp a logo on. Like, we're going to go cut and stitch that on demand. And again, you guys don't have to take on the guesswork of trying to figure out what everybody wants, the sizing, the styles, the colors. That's just, the consumer will ultimately decide that, and we'll make it for them.
Neil, can you tell us about some of your favorite products that you make, on demand? And in particular, what fabric are you rocking on that 22-hour flight to Sri Lanka?
Yeah. That's easy because it's the fabric that I wear every day, including right now.
Polyester.
This is bamboo. So this is kind of our,
love the bamboo.
Yeah.
I mean, polyester is pretty unavoidable in sportswear. There's gonna be poly and everything. Obviously, nobody's wearing cotton uniforms anymore. But the bamboo's cool because it is a natural fiber. I mean, I know a lot of people want that kind of natural, if it's cottony feel. That's one thing that you hear a lot. It's the cottony feel of something. It's the softer feel. But this is bamboo with a little bit of spandex in it, so it stretches. The bamboo has like some antimicrobial properties, so you don't stink in this. It's super soft. In fact, we got to get the Run TMC some shirts done in this. I know you guys like the tri blend, which we can do too, but
we're mocking up the bamboo as well.
Yeah.
The bamboo.
Yeah.
So
this is an everyday piece for me, whether it's a hoodie or a base layer, just a t-shirt, Henley, like the bamboo is where it's at for me.
That's great. So the way the store, we'll give our listeners more detail on the store, but the bottom line is when we open it up, it'll be open for probably like a month or so?
Yeah, you can keep it open as long as you want, really.
Yeah.
Usually we do, a couple of weeks. Depends on the organization.
Yeah.
But you can keep it open as long as you need to.
And then we'll have products that people can order, and you can either have them delivered directly to your home. There's an additional fee for that, shipping fee, or you can have them delivered here to the Encore store on 4th Street, Santa Fe, and then our listeners can come pick them up themselves.
And this is a lovely store. I mean, like, you just walk in, it's spacious, the color, the light is good, the displays are good, coffee's being delivered, sourdough bread, right?
Duffy got me a loaf of sourdough bread. Burren House, not a sponsor, right a couple doors down, could go have a pint.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Pickles right up the road.
Yeah, well, Loud Kitchen next door is a hot spot. I mean,
I was walking by that place.
It's always packed. Always packed.
Yeah, Loud's Kitchen.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I mean, 4th Street, I think 4th Street's, coming back. We had a little lull there for some obvious reasons, but there's some cool businesses that are cropping in here too.
Awesome. Great food.
It's good spot. It's good to be down here.
Totally. So we're psyched to have this relationship with you. We're psyched to have the store open up and give our listeners a chance to I'm excited to get some more Run TMC swag. I'm definitely going to get some bamboo, get a Henley, whatever. So
what do you think about it? You sure have seen our shirts. So, like, give us your professional, like, you can be harsh if you like, because I mean, take us to town. Like, did we do okay?
I think you guys, I'd said this to you the first time I met you, Dave, is I was like, I love your logo. I think the logo's great. Like, you got the local appeal with the negative tam skyline.
Shout out to Katie Levine, my wife, who did that logo.
Yeah, no, it's bright. I mean, that really at the end of the day is whether people are going to buy stuff is if they like the look. I mean, they'll buy it because they like the podcast and like you, but it's got to look good. And So, you see some cool businesses with some questionable design work. That's not always going to fly, So you guys are in a good spot. People are going to love this stuff.
Well, how many times have we all gotten shirts, whether it was swag, giveaway, whatever? They're the scratchy, crappy t-shirts.
Kind of feel like cardboard, maybe.
It's just really bad.
Yeah, the Hanes beefy tee.
Yeah, exactly. Those gilded crappy stuff. And so we wanted to have, and that was Duffy was the one who found that great feel. And I know you have the same general idea.
The
tri-blend.
Yeah.
That soft feel that people just really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm spoiled. I can't wear a shirt that's
no.
tri-blend.
Once you're wearing comfortable clothes, it's hard to. I mean, I think one thing that we always say is we want to. Our goal for all of our clients is we want to make their favorite shirt. We want to make their favorite.
Yeah.
And we want. And we tell them that too. For if we're working with, take your organization, for example, it's like, you don't want to give out shirts that people are like, thanks. And then it's like, this is going to sit at the bottom of my drawer. We'll see it in like 3 years. I'm hanging out in the closet. Like, you want people to want to, as soon as that wash cycle's done, it's like the first one they put on.
Yeah. we don't want to see our shirts at Goodwill.
I would be sad.
We want them.
Or does that mean you made it? It's like, yeah, we're big enough now. Or
that's true. That's true. Well, Neil, so fun to connect with you, to hear about your business. Congratulations on building this thing. I think it's really inspiring. One of the ideas that Duffy and I have talked about when we started this podcast over almost 2 years ago, we love talking hoops. We love talking local sports, but we also just love the community of Marin and learning about businesses that popped up here and people who have started businesses here. I think is really interesting and inspiring. And so this is like an amazing marriage of the kind of the athletic community here, but also you're an entrepreneur. You've built this business. It's growing. We want to help you grow it. So we're really psyched.
Yeah.
I had no idea this was here, and it's such a cool spot, and you're such a cool guy running a great local company. So we really appreciate the partnership.
Yeah.
So everybody support Encore Custom. I mean, so it doesn't have to be an athletic thing. You could work for a restaurant and you want to get some shirts made for your staff or
gear for a bachelor party.
Yeah. We've done bachelor party shirts, believe it or not. That's been a thing. I think we've checked just about every box for every need at this point. But yeah, could be anything. Custom anything. Our minimums are really small too. Again, kind of controlling the supply chain.
Yes.
That's not really an issue. We'll kind of here to help people, and that's part of the fun for us is we get to work with really awesome people doing cool things too. Whether it's the club directors, the athletic side of things.
Yep.
You guys have a really creative endeavor and built a really cool community on the local businesses around here that we get to work with, and we get to be a part of their story a little bit too. So it's an exciting thing for us. It's fun all the time. It's creative, it's challenging, it's dynamic. And like you guys get to meet cool people on your podcast. We're getting to meet cool people out there doing great things in the community too.
All right. So who's winning the MCAL and lacrosse this year?
Oh boy. Well, that's a bit of a tough question because we got stomped, I'm at Redwood. We got stomped by MC, MC the other day. It's tough. Coming off spring break is tough because we give the kids off for spring break. So we're rolling out against Marin Catholic after, I got kids that were traveling the globe and going wherever over spring break, which is good for them. We want to give them that time off. But then it's like a 2-day turnaround to go play our crosstown rival.
Yeah.
MC's loaded. They're tough. We gotta handle Sam Marin tomorrow. So we're kind of a one game at a time kind of team. So I'll take the easy way out here and be like,
good approach, coach.
We're focused on the task at hand tomorrow.
Do you have any of the basketball players from the Redwood team on your lacrosse team?
We do. Well, Cody Vasquez, you mentioned,
right?
Of course, Jake earlier. So Cody's a starting pull for us, and Leo Centeno is a very good lacrosse player. He's one of those guys. It's like probably more of a part-time lacrosse player and a hooper more throughout the year, but man, once he starts getting rolling, and these guys are coming in late too, right? Like because Redwood had a good hoops here,
obviously.
They played deep,
and which that then we see them later in the season with all the overlap. But it takes a couple weeks for those guys to get up to speed. But Centeno's, you can see it. Everything that he does on the basketball court translates on the lacrosse field as well, and we love the hoopers crossing over.
Sorry, I'm going off the reservation on lacrosse now, but how does Marin lacrosse stack up to, other areas. Like we have a pretty good sense that basketball, Marin is a pretty solid basketball presence. We've got good teams always. Lacrosse, are we one of the better areas in Northern California, would you say, or are we kind of middle of the road?
Yeah. I think we're strong. I mean, look, MC and Redwood have kind of dominated the MCal over the last, I've been at Redwood for 13 years. It's been, for the most part, the MC Redwood show.
Okay.
Kind of every other year. TAM is really strong this year. TAM's they're good this year. They beat us in overtime, which was tough battle. We'll hopefully see them again in the playoffs. So credit to them for rising up. Novato has had good lacrosse at the youth level. A lot of those kids do, go to MC and get kids going down to St. Ignatius and leaving the county for high school. So you don't see some of maybe the high school depth there at some of the teams because kids are leaving to the city too.
So how do the MCal teams typically do postseason? So like North Coast section? Do you guys typically?
Yeah, well, I mean, MC won it last year. They won the section last year. And then, MA's got a really good lacrosse program too. And for such a small school, I mean, Skylar Hopkins, great buddy of mine over at MA, they always punch above their weight.
That's
and
great.
They don't have the depth of student body and the roster size, but they get good players there and they maximize their talent there. So, MC, Redwood, MA, TAM is on the up. Novato's had very good teams in years past.
Yeah.
They probably on a little bit of a dip right now, but historically, Marin's right there with the rest of the Northern California.
Some schools kind of drop and then pick up their programs, like Archie, as an example, or is an Archie an isolated case where they have had a program and then not had a program and now they have a program again?
Yeah, there has been the bottom half of the league has struggled kind of historically. And that's a bummer because I think there's enough lacrosse where you want to see like the bottom be serviceable or sustainable and competitive on some level. But Brandon Carney is over at Archie Williams done a great job of kind of reinvigorating that program. So I think last year there's a few teams that had to go down to like 77 and play kind of like an inter-county, kind of smaller subset of the league. But they're mostly back now. Like Branson was a part of that. San Rafael is a light roster, but they're hanging in. So I mean, you just want to see, they don't have to vie for the league championship. You just want to see good roster sizes and committed coaches and committed players, and give the students a chance to go have a great lacrosse experience.
Right.
That's the main thing.
Right. Awesome. Well, Neil, great to chat. We'll be talking to you a lot. Listeners, come check out Encore Custom on 4th Street.
Yeah, we'll be back. Pretty sure. Yeah,
it's great. Excited to be working with you guys and pumped to have you down here and be a part of your community too.
All right. Very cool. Thanks, Neil.
Good job.
Burke's on his feet. He looks up and gives me a grin and says, "Hey, dude, you too must be from Marin." Marin County's A-OK, from Tam to Stinson all the way to MA. Fresh organic veggies in the market